Each week at this time we do a community moment. It's a feature of Oasis gatherings around the country where we invite a voice from the community to get up and share kind of a brief thought for the day. Sometimes it's a life experience you've had, sometimes it's an idea you've been working with, just something you'd like to share with the community. We've had fascinating community moments on all kinds of topics, and if you would like to do one, we'd love to get you on the schedule. Just get with me and we can make that happen. Today, our community moment presenter is a friend of Oasis who is a Girl Scout working on her Gold Award. And I was not familiar with the Gold Award, so I called a friend of mine who is a Girl Scout executive, and she told me it's like a really big deal. It's like an Eagle Scout, only it's harder. And yeah, it's exactly backwards and how that, yeah, you know, backwards and then it's like an Eagle Scout backwards and then that sounds terribly sexist. Anyway, but we are honored that, and so part of completing the Gold Award is you have to do a big project, a sustainable project of some sort. And we are honored that Mandy has asked to work with our community so we can help her get this wonderful award that is the pinnacle of Girl Scouting. So I'd like to welcome to the community moment today, Mandy Ogden.
Hi, I'm Mandy and I'm building a garden. That's a little less complicated than it actually is. But yeah, the Gold Award is supposed to be the epitome of what you've been working towards as a Girl Scout. And what I've been working towards started a while ago with my Silver Award. I helped my troop build a pollinator garden for butterflies, specifically at Bale Elementary. And while we were doing it, we were kind of down in the dirt, and we were talking about how we shouldn't use pesticides and we shouldn't use all of these genetically modified plants that are made not to reproduce. And we started talking about how the gardening industry on a large scale has kind of damaged pollinator populations and native plant populations. And it kind of got me thinking about my own home and my own garden, because I hadn't really thought about it too much until then. And it kind of became a passion project, I guess. We started cleaning up our own house, our own garden. We stopped using pesticides altogether. And it was surprising to see how many butterflies and bees immediately took to my house, to the plants that we put down there, and to wildflowers that were just growing on their own, that were just living, and without anybody there to manicure them or mess with them or coat them in pesticides or prune them back when they got too big. And it kind of shows you that there's not a lot that we feel like we can do about bee populations, because it's a common thing. People realize that bees are dwindling right now, and although apiaries do their best to help, it's not something that enough people are talking about, because if the populations continue to decline, we can't wait for the conversation to catch up with it. It has to happen now. The pesticide industry is very large, and they continue to profit off of big landscape industry, basically. And there's not many laws that protect bees and bee populations. There's not many lawmakers that directly support the continuation of the survival of pollinators. And it's something that's a lot more important than people realize. There's a lot that we, as people, everyday people, can do, which is support lawmakers that protect bees, that actually care about the environment and can care about its preservation. But as people outside of just voting and talking about it, we can do something, at least in our own homes, in our own communities, in our own gardens. We can not abide by the usage of pesticides, not abide by the usage of plants that are designed not to reproduce, or just not support an industry that is actively killing off native populations of bees and plants. So back to the gold award. I'm building a garden with association with Exploration Green over on their test prairie. I want to build a pollinator garden, not just to show that I can build a garden, but to show people that it's not as hard as people think it is. It's really just not using pesticides, not using plants that are genetically modified. There's a lot of roses that have been bred to have so many petals that bees can't get to the pollen inside. But it's a lot less difficult than doing what I'm doing here. It's just caring and talking about it and planting plants in your own homes that are conducive to helping local pollinators. My garden, though, is kind of what I hope to be an inspiration project. I want other people to see it and to know that it's possible for people to help on a small scale. Because the more people that help, the longer we can help bees get by until massive change is made on the nationwide scale. In conclusion, I'm building a garden. Any questions? Unfortunately, Texas isn't completely known for how environmentally friendly it is, but
yeah. Could you tell us what we each individually could do in our front yard, side yard, or whatever?
Yes. Just use native plants that have open petals mostly, that are easy to get to. Plants like coreopsis, just like wildflowers that'll probably pop up on their own, sunflowers, things like that. It's a lot easier to find plants that bees are just happily willing to live with than you think. Yes, we are going to start planting as soon as possible. We need to put up a fence around the garden area, and as soon as that happens, I'm going to be posting work days on my webpage so that people can come out and help. And I would love to start planting as soon as possible.
Yes, can you recommend any naturalist classes here in Texas to learn more about native plants?
Naturalist classes?
Yeah, just anything that teaches you about all of the plants that are endemic to Houston or Texas.
The Clear Lake Native Plant Society is a very vocal and very active group that very actively encourages the growth and passion for native plants and helping them thrive, even despite invasive species around Texas, because as the landscape industry grows, more plants that are invasive are introduced to the area. So the Clear Lake Native Plant Society is very good about talking about this and talking about preservation of natural plants. Oh, sorry.
I think, now that you mention it, I think that the Ogden headquarters over in my neighborhood, which is Memorial and Delaware, I think they have a relatively new area where they're growing plants that they want to encourage. They may even sell them. I'm not sure. I'll try to look into it and you know, Brian?
I haven't heard of that one either, but I'm glad to hear it.
Her website has a lot of links for various groups, like the Texas, the Native Plant Society of Texas, the Clear Lake chapter. We just happen to live nearby. She has a brochure, so we'll be handing out those brochures with a link to her website, and that'll help you get to the resources. And of course, Brian Schrock is her advisor and also Jerry. So we're kind of a group working together to try to help with this project. So.
Wonderful. Let's thank Mandy for her hard work.